Hey everyone, welcome back to another Tuesday Newsday. I'm Alternis. I'm the Community and Marketing Director for Catalyst Game Labs. Oh, okay, good. I was making sure I couldn't hear YouTube in the background through me, so good. And I've got some fun guests here today. I've got Aaron K. Hall. How are you, Aaron?
Doing well.
And I've got Keith Hahn. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't do emails. Yeah.
From well, I know you're doing vacation stuff right now, but another part of Canada. Um, I am getting, just for my tech, I am getting current bit rate is lower than recommended bit rate. So we might get some lagginess. I'm going to close a couple things to see if that's something I can fix on my end here. And hopefully that'll go away. All right, well, I am excited to go over some battletech news with you guys. But first, I want to get through all of our normal updates. So what I've got, we were just at Alliance Open House, which is a retailer trade show last week. There were a bunch of us there. So we got to talk with retailers, had some good focus group sessions, a lot of excitement about upcoming releases. We did a special event showing off ACES so that retailers know how to talk about it, and we're really excited about that. A lot of good feedback on board game division. We did demos for Shadowrun, Voltron, Frostpunk, and then board games like Flippin' Ninja and the Guardians of the Four Winds, which is Quincy of Quincy's Taverns game collab with us. So all of that went really well. Battletech releases. Oh, by the way, shout out to all the stores. If there's any stores in chat that were there, it was great to hang out and see you guys. So thank you. For Battletech releases, we do have some coming up here. So we've got Third Star League Battle Group Force Pack, Battlefield Support and Placements. Those are both September. Early October is Technical Readout 3025 Commemorative Edition, Battletech Gothic, the Salvage Box for Gothic, and then the 21st Centauri Lancers Command Lance, which will be a Barnes & Noble exclusive for 6 months. The Battletech Gothic 100mm Atlas is going to come out in November, and then we're looking at the Force Manual Mercenaries, ACES, and those are November, and then December is House Karita Ranger Lance Force Pack and Command Lance Force Pack. So that's exciting stuff. Last week, I usually meet with Talon on Fridays to talk about reprints and stuff too. Because I was at Alliance, I didn't get to do that. So I'm hoping to flesh that out so we know when some of our out of stocks are coming back into stock. So stay tuned on that. All right, Shadowrun, we've got the Anarchy Kickstarter is the rules light version of Shadowrun for this. This is the second version of that second edition. That is live on Kickstarter right now. We're at just over $230,000 for that. So that's awesome. Really great campaign by our partners at Black Book Editions. So if you haven't gotten to see that yet, you should go check it out. Leviathans is in fulfillment. So we are I think we heard was mid last week, and we're about 25% fulfilled for domestic. And for international, we are making the push to get all of the final quotes done to get the manufacturer shipments from the manufacturer to Holland and to Australia, which are our international hubs for international fulfillment. Board games. Gosh, I feel like there's so much happening with board games. Flippin' Ninja is our newest release of board game coming in. It's either October or November. Is Quincy's Taverns board game, which is the Guardians of the Four Winds. Then we've got later this year, I believe, in time for Black Friday is my understanding, is Kung Fu Panda's Street Food Showdown, which is a card game. So that'll be really nice for loved ones and children for Christmas. What else do we have? Board games as well has Runefire. That Kickstarter is locked down for February. So in collaboration with Paizo and Pathfinder, the Runefire board game is coming soon to Kickstarter, and Paizo has their own board game. I think it's called Rune Quest, that is on Kickstarter right now. So you should check that out. My Hero Academia has been getting some great press. We're really excited for the minis game. A lot of excitement from the retailers about the MHA miniatures game, especially that the miniatures are really high quality. They're really pretty, and so they're collector's items in addition to being for the miniatures game. So if you have a game store that is more, focused on anime or comic books or something like that, they're, even if they don't care about the gaming side of it, they might still be interested in getting those products. So, and then fiction, I have my nice little cheat sheet of all of the fiction that is out, I believe. We've got scrolling. Battletech First Strike. Mods, if you don't mind dropping this in chat, the links in chat, that'd be great. This is the Battle Core Anthology Volume 2, edited by Lauren L. Coleman. I change his middle name every time I talk about him and use his full name. So I think the most recent one is Leanne. So Lauren Leanne Coleman. So check that out. First Strike. Then we've got the September free fiction, which Battletech is Scream by Tom Levine. And Shadowrun is Where the Thirsty Desert Dreams by David McDonald. So check out both of those. Let's see. Boop. Okay, that is all the fiction I have. Don't forget to check out here on YouTube. We have in our playlists or just on our videos, we've been dropping edited versions of all of the Gen Con streams. So instead of watching through 12 hours of content, you can click on the content you want to see. Last week's big release was the Leviathan's actual play featuring actor Thorneye. So you should check that out and get the goods there. Just noticed something and I need to take a note on. Anarchy. Great. And then, I see something else. We have a new Shadowrun mission, Child's Play. This is SRM 208108. Child's Play is now available on the Catalyst store, so you can check that out also. Making sure I'm not missing anything else in my scrolling here. Runefire, I did it. I did MHA. Yep, all that looks good. Okay, cool beans. Child's Play is above, my mods are making a note for me. It's right where it's right above the free fiction, the September free fiction. It's a bit.ly link. Okay. What else do we have? That was fiction. That was the Gen Con vids. I think that's all my news. So I'm going to turn over to you guys. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I got you guys on. This was a whole bunch of last minute stuff. So I got a message from Aaron last minute, which turned into an email last minute, which turned into a Tuesday Newsday invite last minute. But we have some pretty big news. Do you guys want to break the news?
Aaron.
Sure. So what we are working on, what Keith has been working on, his team for a while now, is the next generation replacement for Total Warfare. The core, gasp, shock, pause for applause. It is a book that will replace both Total Warfare, which turns 20 next year. We'll talk a little more about long gap in a minute, but also will replace Battle Mech Manual while using Battle Mech Manual as sort of the starting point. A lot of the lessons that Keith brought through in that book, using that as a springboard. So we can talk a little more detail about what this will and will not be. But the big news is that if you go to Battletech's Facebook page, any of our socials right now, there's a link to the first playtest package. This is a pair of rules that are among many that Keith and his team have developed that we want your feedback on. We want you to play some games to battletech, actually play the games, not just reading the rules in a vacuum. Play the game with these rules and tell us what you think. We wanted to make sure that these rules were thoroughly tested. I think all of us that work on battletech understand the importance of Classic, the need for it to continue in development, in active development. But most importantly, this is not BattleTech 2.0. It is not a new edition. We are not scrapping all of that 40 years of Classic and coming up with something new. Anyone who's around when Alpha Strike launched, this is not that. So that's the big news. Again, you can find the link. I'm kind of sharing it around some other places in the community as we talk too. So there'll be 5 playtest packages in all. 4 of them will come out in 6-week increments. Okay. The 5th will run alongside all of that. So
this is just the first.
Correct. This is playtest 1, which is based on survivability. We tried to, Keith, I think all of them have sort of a thematic connection, or each package has a thematic base.
So can you talk a little bit more about what people can expect to find in this first playtest packet and what the survivability, playtesting means?
Sure. Should I take it away?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of rules changes, and they're covering all sorts of things, and some of them are really, really niche, like just very micro level, and some of them are larger. It's the usual same thing that happened when Total Warfare came out. Everyone remembers, like, when if you played back then, you're like, oh, they changed partial cover, and they changed this one other thing, and then everything else there was tons of other ones, and people don't remember those. And usually that's because they don't need as much testing. They work fine as they are. It's pretty self-evident what they do. But so we're not putting every single rule out there to be tested. We want to put out the ones that we really want people to hammer at, to make sure that we're not missing something, that don't have unforeseen consequences, right? So with this one, we're looking at just 2 rules changes. Some of the other packages will have many more than that, but in this case, it's 2 that go together. So when people get a package, we ask them to test all of them at once. They're meant to go together. These here are like how easy it is to destroy a battle mech. And there's some subtle twists and not so subtle. These are actually the biggest ones we're putting out first. So don't mistake what's going to be in this package for the scale of all of it. Some of them will be smaller. But it's looking at, in one case, how easy it is to score hits on a certain area of a mech. Another one is how devastating is an ammunition explosion to a mech. And I mean, may seem a bit in the weeds, but if you're playing it regularly, when you look at this rule, you'll immediately see, oh, okay, actually, these are going to produce some rather large gameplay changes. And we think they'll be good. We're actually even pretty sure they'll be good. But it's one thing to argue about them for like a month or 2 like we did, and another thing to then run some small-scale private playtest games like we did, and yet another thing to hand it over to several hundred or 1,000 players and have them all play multiple games and take in all that data and go, well, it looked like it works great for 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 games, but actually once we hit the 1,000 game mark or whatever, we're really starting to see a trend that this is breaking down. It doesn't work. And if it doesn't, these are proposals. They're not set in stone. They are not already accepted. If they don't work at the table, if people reject them, they fail, then we discard them. We're hoping they don't. We like the promise of what they do, but right this stage, it's just a promise.
Awesome. So I'm clicking around on the announcement, and I see, so this first one starts today and ends October 13th. The next one comes out in 20 days and will feature mobility rules. And then it looks like feedback is all done through the forums. Is that correct?
Well, there's a separate sort of web forum that's been set up just for this purpose, but primarily the forum's attachment to it is sort of subsidiary. We're going to do some discussion there, but the main thing is a web form. There's going to be some drop-down boxes. There's going to be some boxes to fill in. There's preset questions kind of designed to direct the exact kind of feedback that we're looking for. So while there is a forum, it's very secondary. We're not looking to collect play test reports through the forum. That's just more
Sure.
like, let's talk with other people who've been playing it. Maybe we can answer some questions there for you, stuff like that.
And
But
I'm sure we'll be doing that on the Discord server as well. So that way people can discuss and then turn in their final actual feedback.
well, there's a problem with modern decentralized internet is people are going to talk about it everywhere, including
Only
our
two
Discord.
places you are allowed to talk about it.
But
Sure.
yeah, so just go everywhere. But I mean, I am not going to monitor Friendster and
Sure.
MySpace and Napster chat and whatever. Like, I
I'll be
can't
doing
keep up with everything. What's that?
I'll be doing that.
You'll do that, yeah. So I mean, well, I'll do my best to keep up on what's happening. But if you want to speak to us and you want to like talk about it anywhere, but you really want to get your feedback heard, you need to
Right.
go through this process here.
Okay, great.
I think
Oh, go
one
ahead,
of the
Aaron.
important things with this pair of rules, and Keith, maybe you could speak to this as well, is the intention in particularly this playtest package is to remove some of the feel bad moments that can happen in Classic. Is that fair to say, Keith? Is that
Yeah, well, sort of. I mean, it's tricky. I mean, that's yes and no. Like some of the rule changes are just outright, we think this is a good idea. But one, like the one in this package here, one of them is ammunition explosions. There's no right answer to ammunition explosions. You've got people who are like, ammunition explosions should be huge. If anything, they're not big enough. I want to see a mushroom cloud from orbit.
totally?
I
Sure.
love the fact that my mech can be utterly annihilated turn one. That's cool to me. And I think I said in one of the playtest notes, I think Battletech kind of self-selects for people who are okay with like, oh, I'm dead, turn one, whatever. Okay. But there's still plenty of others who say, no, that's not cool. I don't like that at all. I want some kind of mitigating factor. I don't want that to happen.
Hmm.
So we can't really say which one is going to be right. So we tried to sort of thread the needle there, pick something, a bit of a middle ground where it definitely hurts if you catch one of these things, but you're not probably instantly dead. And
Right.
we're going to let the community decide in this case. Like some of these things, I'm pretty sure that's going to be this way. Something like this, if everyone hates it, then it goes, because I can't say to anyone with any confidence, this is the right way to do it. It's just sort of a good middle ground that we feel we've arrived at.
Well, and I suppose that's what I meant by a feel bad moment is that some folks, when you do want that big explosion, right? They want the machine gun ammo to popcorn off, and this great theatrical moment. But for some people at the table, I've seen it where, especially if it's like on a floating crit or something random, where it's not the end result of a long day of hard battle, and their mech, bites it in a appropriately spectacular way. I've had it happen. I did it to a friend where brand new minty fresh battle master, floating crit, center torso, rolled 2 crits, hit the machine gun ammo, and at that point the game was no longer winnable for him. The scenario had been fairly balanced, but that was it. We played it out, but there was no chance that. I mean, that was the rules as written for ammo. 200 damage through the torso is a wrap. So. Maybe you want to talk a little more about the other change, though, which I think is a bigger deal than ammo explosion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other one we're looking at is the elimination of side hit location tables. So right now, if you shoot someone in the side hit zone, you're more likely to hit the side. But you're not guaranteed to hit the side you're aiming at. It's still possible that you hit the opposite side. And I mean, whether that's realistic or not, well, frankly, I don't really care. I mean, it's a game first and foremost. It's perfectly plausible to say that while you are on the side, the guy's got his other shoulder out, you hit it, it's fine. Some people say it's unrealistic, some people say it's perfectly, but that's not the basis for a game. I mean, other than the most horrible violations of realism, I mean, there is a limit for everyone, even in a giant robot game of the future, where you just go, no, I'm out. I don't buy this anymore. But this, I don't think we're dealing with. We're dealing this primarily as a gameplay level change. So we thought it would be nice to be able to eliminate those tables and at the same time produce what we think is more interesting tactical gameplay. So, oh no, my left side is weak. I'm going to maneuver my mech to shield that side. So if I can put my right side to the enemy with this new rule, you can only hit the right side when you're trying to get the right side. Whereas before, you still had that small chance of hitting a decent sized chance at hitting elements on the left side. So we like it because other than just eliminating the tables, it's nice to free up space and make ease of memorization. There's this real feel that, okay, I'm in trouble. I'm going to make if I'm a good player, the right decisions to try to mitigate that. And similarly, oh, hey, record sheets are open to almost all the time for everyone. I can see that guy's got an open left side or a near open left side. I'm going to maneuver my mechs to go over there and try to hammer at that left side and take advantage of that. Maybe I can take him out without having to wear through all of that armor. It could be because it rewards both the attacker and the defender with smart play. We think all in all, it's going to work out well.
It emphasizes player choice, like you said. It's one of those things where you can make the right move, whether you're attacker or defender, and due to a roll of the dice, it doesn't work out. And yes, that is a randomness. Battle is random. That can happen. Reading this, to me, it really felt like it's the emphasis of learning the game, the ways to move. It brings some of the terrain back into the picture in a way that, you really have to think about your moves to get in that spot, and you get rewarded for it, either as a defender or attacker. So I think, this is, and it goes with that ammo explosion part too, I guess. If you can get into, if they have a side open, you can get in the right spot, hit that ammo. You'll do a lot of damage, but it isn't necessarily a game over for that mech.
Awesome. I just want you guys to know that I'm watching chat, and Big Red 40 Tech seems overall positive about these changes, and that's really the only opinion that matters. So,
duly noted. Well, we're now, the worry side of it for the side table is, what if it's too easy to delete a side? What if it's too easy to zone in there? What if the statistics really work out that actually, everyone with Inner Sphere XL engine or an XXL of any kind, I can just delete those mechs because I can home in the sides, I can use my superior mobility, and they're dead. Like that, the game is not adequately balanced for that increased ability to hit the side. And so that's the primary concern. I feel like we can't be too careful with this. So while some things I was saying, they're not going out to the public, we're fine with them. This, we really need to see this tested. Because as cool as it would be to free up the space, as cool as it would be to do what we think works in theory, if it just winds up that Inner Sphere mechs with XL engines are just gone, well, then, it's not going to work. It's a bad change and it needs to go.
Okay.
It'll speed things up too. Nobody has the side tables memorized. No one has them. I know someone out there's like, but I do.
Yeah.
Great. But I don't. And I've played a lot of battletech. I don't. So that means every time I'm at a side angle, I have to stop, open the book, pull out or pull out a reference card and look. And these things add, they add length to the game and detail to the game, but not necessarily enjoyment to the game. It's just detail for, detail's sake.
And I think that brings up a good way of kind of explaining the sort of thing we were looking at with this. We don't want to just simplify. Like, simplification is boring. It makes for boring games. There's a million fast play games already out there that do that. Like, just simplification in and of itself. There's got to be a foundation of good, interesting, robust gameplay at the heart of it. And Battletech even more so, because Battletech nowadays is this weird beast that's kind of survived from ancient eras where it plays like nothing else out there. And God bless it, I love it for that. But so we got to be extra careful about trying to just simplify things for the sake of simplifying. So when we're looking at changing something, if it's a simplification, and we didn't just do simplifications here, we added new gear, we added new rules, there are new options. But for the simplification side, it had to be something where the loss of removing that corner case, the weird edge case, was very much worth the speed up in terms of less table space, fewer modifiers to juggle, things like that. Battletech is a game full of exceptions. It's almost entirely built in many ways on exceptions. And most of those exceptions are actually a lot of fun. We don't want to just toss exceptions because they are exceptions. So in this case, we felt that we were gaining something with the simplification, not just, because if we just wanted to simplify, it was like, we'll just throw out the damage cluster system or the critical hit system. We could throw all sorts of stuff and it'd be simpler, but well, then be boring as all hell, frankly.
So question for you guys, and I think like I've been formulating an answer myself, but I think that there's going to be a lot of excitement around not only these rules changes, but also getting to have a say and provide that feedback. So it might be worth it to, if you guys are okay with it, come back for like a check-in for each new launch of the new rules, so you can be like, here's what we found out so far about the previous playtest, here's the new what's new coming up on the next playtest, because I think there's going to be a lot of enthusiasm if you guys would be okay with that.
I'd be happy to pop back in. Yeah, it'd be fine. I mean, it says, like you were saying earlier, we're doing like 5 waves, so yeah, there'll be plenty of things to talk about, plenty of things to try out. There'll be probably a few dozen rules by the end that'll be previewed out of the full batch of it.
Awesome. Do you guys want to give us any preview on what else we're going to be play testing here in the next waves, or anything else you want to say about this wave, I guess?
I don't want to be executed, so maybe Aaron.
No. Go on. You got it.
Well,
somebody asked if we have a
like we were talking earlier. We're looking at things in broad sort of thematic things. It's easier to put things together, especially since a lot of them do interlink. Like how easy it is to hit something in the side is related to some degree to how devastating the ammo is that you're looking to hit is. So we put them together. It's easier to home in on one spot, but it's less devastating in some cases when you do, depending on what's there. So similarly, we've got the next package. We're looking at stuff that makes it affects mobility, how easy it is, especially with regards to piloting skill rolls, how easy it is to fall down, how easy it is to stand up and get around the battlefield. And again, that's kind of a narrow thing to walk. You want to make things more rewarding in some areas, but you don't want to take away what makes battletech interesting. But so we're trying to, we'll have a package of stuff there. We want to see the grand effect, no necessarily any single rule, but how does it all play out? What's the overall effect? Then we've got, I think we're looking, all right, tech changes. There's going to be a bunch of gear that changes. Now, there's a big thing here, an overwhelming mandate, and one of the reasons why we don't just idly say, this is not a new edition. Record sheets don't change. This is the sacred rule of battletech. I think we identified, there's one tech that's incredibly niche.
Is it the blue shield thing?
No, Watchdog. Yeah, where it's just why is this thing here? And yet it's on like 30 mechs or something anyways, because no matter how obscure a mining,
it's like, these are words, but I don't,
there's a mining drill on some mechs.
These are niche pieces of gear. You'll play a long time and not come up across.
So we're taking a couple of very, very small, like I think it was literally 30 record sheet changes out of the thousands and thousands. Otherwise, the rule was, well, no matter how interesting that seems, no, can't be done. We're not changing the record sheets. We're not changing the record sheets. So we're keeping that fixed. So the gear that's going to change is the stuff that has game rules, because game rules don't appear in the record sheets. We can massage the hell out of that all we want, because it's not set in stone in that way. That means most of your basic weapons, they can't change because they don't really have game rules. Your autocannon, your PPC, the classic stuff has to stay as it is. Any ranges will have to stay as it is. Damage stays as it is. It's just the incredibly long list of wording on a shield. All of that we can play with that because that doesn't show up on a sheet.
I just want to underline that. Sorry, go.
No.
I think it's important to underline what Keith just said, that for anyone out there who's feeling like the game they know is changing, or we are, radically altering battletech, say it again. The record sheets are not changing. That was one of the guardrails. That nothing that Keith and his team proposed could change a record sheet. If that doesn't tell you the level one of thought that had to go into these changes to be able to accomplish meaningful change without changing the record sheet, or two, the fact that this is about improving the game, rejuvenating that game, getting it back into active development as a thing that we're always looking at. That's I think the best piece of evidence I can give you that we're not changing the soul of battletech here.
Yeah, and I think actually the active development thing is definitely something I think we should talk about at a certain point, what that means really. But beyond that, after gear, we're looking at missions. One of the things that battletech has always kind of neglected is that we've been very interested in, okay, you can play the 17th Bushnak Rangers in 3025.5 on planet Zorgon, with this, like every super detailed, this faction, this unit, this, where we get it right down. Like we do the historical and the narrative play very well, and we really focused on that, and it's good. But there's plenty of people who just want to play battletech. Like battletech launched as a box set with some mechs, lets you and me fight. And so we want to put in The fourth wave is going to be the mission slash scenario generator, where it's no narrative elements, no faction elements. It's just stuff. There's a few of them right now in Total Warfare, right? I mean, this isn't a new idea, and tons of other games do this. It's just we've kind of shied away from it, and we'd like to do both. It's not about a shift of emphasis. It's just we've neglected one area. There's plenty of people who don't want to have to buy a scenario pack or something to have something other than let's blow each other up. So we're going to make sure this is in the new core rulebook. That'll be wave 4. And the last wave is going to run alongside everything else because it's much more complicated. So it's technically wave 5, but realistically it's going to start up relatively soon and going to run alongside all the other ones. And that's an aerospace system for battlefield support. So the more abstracted scale of things, it's still trying to keep it simple, not tracking separate map sheets, much like it is what we have with the Mercenaries box set. So there's a very, very abstract one right now in the Battle Mech manual, but it's essentially damage blobs with an air theme. I was like, well, you took 10 damage. Why? Well, this text says it was an airstrike, but it could have been anything. Rabid badgers, who knows? Doesn't matter. This is an attempt to actually get more of a feel of an aerotech game in while still keeping it abstract. It's not a full, formal, crunchy aerospace rule set, but it's still a full rule set. It still needs plenty of testing. So we're giving that more than the 6 weeks that all the other waves get.
Okay. How does it feel going into something? I know ever since I started at Catalyst 2.5 years ago, it's been like look both ways and then whisper aerospace. Yeah. So like, what's it like to finally be working something like this into a new product?
It's tricky. That was the main thing I felt was, okay, it's got to be simple. You can't have separate maps, but we do want to try to get some kind of minis in there. And it has to be a rule set for aerospace fans. But as I found out in early drafts when Randall was playing it, he's like, this is really good for aerospace fighters. They're kicking the crap out of everything on the ground. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, it's an aerospace rule set. I figure if guys are going to pick this out, they want to play with planes and they should be rewarded for that. And he's like, well, I get what you're saying, but we still have to follow the main storyline, the main fluff, the lore, the background of this universe, which says mechs rule, mechs dominate, mechs can hold their own against aerospace fighters. So I had to tone that back and maybe make them less dominant, which is not to say cripple them, but like shift it more to, I was looking at as okay, if you're going to pick this, you might as well be rewarded for playing aerospace. And Randall was more thinking, no, I want it to fit in more with the mainstream of the game. So it was having even to pay attention to those sort of core universe restrictions was interesting. That required a bunch of new play testing. But all in all, it was fun. It was a fun attempt to get a challenge, to get some sense of the feel of dogfighting and some of the other things, the strafing and the bombing. And the rifleman, everyone always wants the rifleman with that fancy radar on the top of its head to be able to do something cool with it. I want to be able to shoot down planes.
Aircraft gun.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
I will say this for the diehard aerospace folks, because Ray might have had the same experience. More so, Ray, if you want to see Ray dive for cover, start talking aerospace. There are plans afoot for a more robust aerospace experience. Mm-hmm. What Keith is working on is a way to make aerospace accessible at even the most basic levels of play.
Okay.
We understand there are lots of folks out there who want like a super detailed aerospace experience. We have said in the past, we hear you, we see you. It has not been a major priority. It is still happening. We will have a more robust aerospace system. We're not forgotten about that. So please don't think, because I know people hear what we're saying and think that's it for detailed aerospace. There will be more aerospacey things to come. But for the purposes of this book, for the purposes of bringing aerospace to your Saturday game in a way that, as Keith said, affects the game, feels flavorful, isn't overpowering, and doesn't require memorizing at least one and possibly two parts of two more rule books to come up with corner case answers to things, we're working on. But
yeah,
this is the way to get.
I would think of it like right now with the Mercenary box set. If you want to play with vehicles, but you're really only interested in a sort of simplified video gamey level of blowing up vehicles, you take the battlefield support rules, use the combat vehicle assets. That didn't get rid of the combat vehicle rules, and we are not getting rid of the combat vehicle rules or the infantry rules. But they deal with two separate audiences. I just want a dab of it. I just want some flavor. I want to try this out versus I want the full deal. And both will exist and both exist now. Both will continue to exist.
Okay, great. Well, anything final you guys want to say before I jump us over to Q&A? I do have to cut us off a few minutes early today because Aaron has a very important meeting. Anything else you guys want to say before I jump to Q&A?
Really brief, the whole thing of when I mentioned earlier, the active development. FASA used to do books like every 3, 4, or 5 years. They did all the time. Total Warfare is old enough to encompass every single book FASA ever put out within itself. Like it is incredibly old. We've rolled in so many changes in there that it's effectively a revised edition. If you buy the new print, you are having in many ways a different game than the first printing, but we've called it the same book. There's just no reason to do that. So we've kept the same book, but active development has continued anyways because we've been just doing it via errata. So this is a chance to put everybody on the same page and catch people up with, what is it, 11 or 12? 12 printings coming up of Total Warfare. Get people all out there. You get the new book, people will be talking to each other and using the same frame of reference rather than, oh, I have the 3rd printing, you have the 8th, and they changed like 40 things, 50, 60 things in between that. So that's what we mean by active development, that the sense of we can have new books with the changes rather than just trying to sneak it all in via errata and hope that some people downloaded the errata doc. And plenty of people don't. They don't care about errata docs. They want to go find them. They just want it within the rule book. So new books is a better approach than just trying to shoehorn all in being errata.
One of the things I've seen people saying to the few folks that that knew this was coming, we were working on this, some of the negative opinion, or the negative's not the right word, some of the cautious opinion has been, oh, but I liked that battletech's rules never changed, that it was always the same game. And it's not true. The game was always evolving. For them, yes, maybe they bought Total Warfare in 2008, and that's the book they've used for the last 17 years. Sure, that's fine. But what Keith is saying is objectively absolutely true. The rules have been evolving. The product has not, if that makes sense. We've kept selling the same product, a book called Total Warfare, while evolving the rules, which is no bueno. We can't do it that way because it'll come up at the table if people have 2 different books, if people have 2 different knowledge bases of understanding of how the rules work. How are they to know? We didn't call it Total Warfare 2nd edition. Even the older books, had a different name each time, somewhat slightly. Battletech Compendium Rules of Warfare, Battletech Master Rules Revised. But at least they put the word revised in the title, right? I mean, you could tell, okay, this book doesn't have that word, this book does, therefore this book newer. Not the case. So I would encourage anyone who feels like, but the rules never changed. They did. And this change is both going to be clearly marked and incorporating that 20 years of learned lessons, both in layout, production, gameplay, all of the things that we've learned. And that have institutional knowledge. Randall has been a part, he did Total Warfare. And we have that continuity that someone has seen this evolve. And I think that's my only pushback to folks who say it hasn't changed. It has. It definitely has. And now it'll be a real thing. We'll see a different book and we can keep going from there, as Keith said. Now we have a basis to continue doing this into the future and making classic something that's, alive and evolving and vibrant, and not just something that people think is frozen in carbonite.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump over to questions. And because we have you two, a lot, of course, with this news came up. So I'm going to focus on your guys' questions. And if there's time for the other ones at the end, we'll get to those. If not, I apologize, and we'll be happy to answer next week. So for our guests, first question we had was from 117 Aster. Any way to get BSP asset cards to include era or tech level? They're great for combined arms in the Succession Wars, but it's hard to tell which variants are available without research.
don't actually know. I mean, it's more of a layout issue in some ways. Like the cards are kind of cramped. I agree that
They are
they're nice, but I mean that really might be just something to go. As long as we stick to the names, relying on the upcoming new master unit list site to do that kind of work for you, and not try to shoehorn it into the card as well.
Okay.
For sure, that would seem like a job for the master unit list primarily.
Which, do we have an update? Any updates on the?
Yeah, I keep saying it's soon and it's close, and I've said that for like 6 months now. So people are very disincentivized to believe me when I say that we are at the last hurdle. Josh Perrion, who's been shepherding that, is trying to get us across the finish line. We're close. By the way, shout out to Josh for building this playtest website. Talk about fire drills. Talk about getting dragooned into things. He set the playtest website up, in with a ton of work, ton of effort. So, for everything that's right, thank him. For everything that's not right, blame me for spinning this all up in way too quickly.
Big Red says it's Aaron. It's soon K Hall.
It feels that the joke in the community, right, is soon trademark. We always say soon.
Yeah,
we always say soon, but it is a real thing. It is not vaporware. I've seen Josh's dev site, the beginnings of it. It looks awesome. It's going to be such a great tool.
Cool.
And it's really going to help you find. He has in one unit page, for example, there's links to the TRO that it's in, where to find the miniature, what force pack it's in, or where to buy it from Ironwind, and camo specs. Here's some painting ideas for you. I mean, all in one for one unit. It's going to be a great resource. Cool. Please bear with us.
Metal Carnage asks, is there any thought to making neoprene mats for the map sheets to a Game of Armor Combat, Clan Box, and or Mercenaries?
It's come up. That seems like it could happen as soon as those boxes cycle. Like as soon as we change the map in those boxes, I would think neoprene would make sense. Cool. Kind of a great question. He deals more with maps than I do. I deal with words.
Lewis asks, question on Case 2. Any plans to let combat vehicles get access to Case 2?
Too early yet. We're just starting with something I should have mentioned earlier, that this is the mech phase of playtesting. You have to break something this big down to make it, if step one was rewrite all of Total Warfare, then it was never going to get done, right? So we started with mech rules, but that means we haven't really tackled the combat vehicle end of things yet. So all I could say is maybe.
Okay.
And we want to make sure folks get chewable chunks of this from their end too. Yeah. I don't want to be in the position of handing you the beta book and saying, here it is. Because also, just from a marketing perspective, that will incline people to say too much new, too much change, not interested. Whereas if we give a little bit, just try this part out and tell us what you think. It's a little easier to digest for us too.
Prussian Havoc asks, for Aaron and Keith, what was the most exciting aspect of reinventing battletech?
Well, for me, it was just being able to do it, honestly. I mean, I started a folder, what was it, like 2018? I decided, you know what, there's going to eventually be a new rework of Total Warfare. It's got to happen one day. Book was getting close enough to be able to vote in Canada kind of thing. I started collecting stuff early on, and I was like, I want to have it well argued. I want to have, I started writing out all explanations for what the changes I wanted to make and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm the errata guy. I'll probably be involved. And then, Aaron and Ray, like, actually, we want you to head it. Like, well, be the lead.
Here's on the title.
But it's so, okay. Well, yeah, that was really exciting, obviously. And then also immediately followed by terrifying when you're like, because you also realize you could get to be the guy who's like, oh, that's the asshole that destroyed battletech. So really trying to avoid that. We'll see how it goes.
We would never put you under the bus that way. That said, we can't take your name out of a book once it's printed.
Exactly. So, yeah, exactly. That's not your decision. Right? That's a fan-based thing. So we're trying to be cautious. We want to make sure this stays battletech. But yeah, so that for me, it was just the chance to even
I think if you
ask the ability to do it.
I think if you ask both Randall and Ray, you aren't a real developer until you've been accused of ruining battletech.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to being the literally, figuratively Hitler of battletech. So,
no.
The most exciting thing for me was being told that we have to have it at Gen Con next year. That was exciting.
Yeah,
Oh,
Like,
I
no.
was at Gen Con this year, and that was the same thing.
horrifyingly, like
Rebel
we're already a couple months behind before we were even told that. The good part is, as Keith says, my real answer is the exciting part is working with someone like Keith. I know it sounds like I'm buttering him up, and I am. But truthfully, being able to empower folks who understand the game like he and his team do, and being able to put in that, being able to leverage those abilities, those folks to make the game better is great. I mean, that's why, we don't want development to be siloed into just a couple people. And, that's part of what drives this playtest. Keith and I both argued for a public playtest, a chance to bring more of the community in to try these rules out. So being able to build this book, I think, with that mentality is pretty great.
So to step back real quick, Aaron, because you said the words, just because they were set an expected timeline to Gen Con 2026 does not mean that's a realistic timeline. Please don't. Please
well,
don't.
best.
Yeah, but also we say on the playtest site late summer 2026.
Yeah,
right.
So it's our intention right now, but as we all know, things get pushed, and
if we had started from a standing start, there'd be no chance. But as Keith says, he's been doing math on like side table stuff for years now. So
I'm just saying, if it's at Gen Con 26, consider that a happy surprise. But please
don't worry. Yeah. Well, we will communicate updates and changes.
Thank you.
But that's part of this playtesting, right? We'll right. Someone says, just say Gen Con, don't mention the year.
To everyone saying
it'll be
Gen Con 2026
the next one.
Carved in stone.
Sure.
All right. Next up, Gwen's dad, 2003. Good to see you last week at the game store. Will this change the BV of Case?
That's part of what we're looking at. I was more specifically actually thinking about Innisphere XL engines. One of the many things still to be looked at is a battle value revision. There has been a bunch of work done on that. I have a sort of patch thing done up for it, but it needs to wait until we finish finalizing the rules so we can see in turn what we're going to look at from there. And part of deciding that is to see what kind of practical at the table effect this has, not just theory crafting, but what are the playtests telling us? And if they say, well, it's good enough to work and it is fun, so let's keep it, but I can't help but notice that mechs with Innisphere XL engines are noticeably weaker, then we will probably need to adjust the BV even if we accept the rule as a whole. So there can be a bunch of knock-on effects to a rules change as well, and we'll be looking at those.
Yeah, BV 3.0 won't roll out with this book or anything. It'll be influenced by this book and by the experience of playtesting. So I know it's a big concern, but things, as Keith says, things are going to change. This is going to change things, and we need to kind of have that experience till we know how to cost things. Right now, it's all just math, and this number in theory is right, but it might not be. We don't want to have to publish BV 3.0 and then immediately have to publish Battle Value 4.0 to undo all the screw ups that were baked into 3.0.
Keith, are you excited to errata your own work?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I already do that because I did the Battle Mech manual, right? So it's just like, I was so proud when that thing went to press, and then for about 5 minutes of glory, it was beautiful. And then like, son of a, immediately you realize you missed this, or someone makes the report and they're like, you realize you did this, you idiot. And like,
I think my favorite comment right now is Keith, probably a Capellan Han.
What did we put you? You have art somewhere in the universe.
I didn't actually come out. Brent sent it to me. Yeah, and it was hilarious because I mean, I look like it's not threatening at all. It's very hilarious.
No,
it was an excellent attempt, but Brent sent it to me and he thought it was pretty funny, so I've kept it. But yeah, I look like babyface space warlord. It just doesn't work. It's like, oh, look at him, he's dressed up and trying to be evil. So I kept it. But yeah, I never made it into print, and I think rightfully so. Yeah.
Dave asked, when do we get rabid badgers as an infantry type?
Oh yeah, next update. They're definitely gonna
We
have.
have Velociraptor infantry. I mean, we just need big enough badgers to ride.
That
Awesome.
would be a great touring the
Volcano
Froggy, something
infantry.
like that.
It's a thing. You can find it in the mule.
And then follow-up question from Corehammer. What's the BSP cost of rabid badgers?
That would
Check in.
derive from
Well, we're gonna have to do this now as an April Fool's product or something now. Is it various large angry animals that we can
start.
dramatically catapult?
Herb's already got 50,000 words about it, probably.
David Kim asks, wait, so will the aerospace be about actual ASFs like combat vehicles you buy with BSP, or just airstrike tokens and anti-air superiority tokens?
Somewhat in between. We'd like to be able to put miniatures on the table to some degree, but in other cases, like with dogfight, it'll be a little more abstracted because it's hard to map the speed and maneuverability of a dogfight to the practical combat thing of a battletech scale. But no, they'll have asset cards with stats and stat lines and stuff like that. It won't be just flavored damage blobs or just, but you can use tokens if you want, because the things like facings and that won't matter. But if you want to use minis, we'd be more than happy to have that work.
Cool.
Yeah, it's sort of a middle ground, right? Just like assets on the ground are now.
I've seen folks use like the Visigoth and the Shalone miniatures that we've done as like reminder tokens. Like they'll put them on a piece, like on the map sheet. They'll put them on like a building as a reminder. Oh yeah, I have that option, that strike, that damage blob available if I want it. But that's, I don't know. Yeah,
we have it for the airstrike portion. Basically, you're like, okay, I'm going after this mech. I'm putting it this far away to kind of mark what range I'm making my attack at. But for air-to-air combat, it'll just be purely abstracted.
All right, we've got 2 minutes left, so I'm going to ask one more question, I think. Prussian Havoc asks, any chance Dice Core might be coming to BattleTech?
What?
I think that's the RPG, right? The core mechanic.
Yeah, it's the Catalyst RPG system.
Yeah,
it's outside my department. I have no idea.
That's not to this book. And
it's still, this is your classic, still your 2d6s and your
RPG
cluster tables and everything else. This is still.
Right. Is there any news on RPG for BattleTech?
No, there had been some preliminary work done, and it's still, Ray and I still talk about it from time to time. But I mean, with this now being the active development, this is the focus. I don't want to redesign 2 systems at once.
What?
That seems mistake prone, to say the least.
All right. Well, we are at 5 minutes to the top of the hour, so I do have to cut us off. But thank you so much, Aaron. Thank you so much, Keith, for being here. And we'll assume 3 weeks from now you'll be back to talk about the next chapter. But thank you guys so much for your work. I think there's going to be a lot of excitement around this. So good job.
So.
We're excited too.
Great. Well, thank you guys for being here too. We'll be back next week. I always have to think of the schedule and where I'm going to be. So I think I should be home. So we'll see you next week. Thank you so much.